I mean, rain or shine, summertime, fall, winter, spring, doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter. Fantasy basketball knows no seasons. Fantasy basketball is year-round, and we bring it to you. Yo, Rick Kamla, Hall of Famer Steve Alexander is right here. We are the OGs. We're the GOATs. We are the Fantasy NBA today. Doc, we are here with a new week of basketball, man. And we got a lot of news to talk about. The Summer League wrapped up last night. Shout out to the Hornets, dude. The Hornets won the Summer League championship. See, this is what happens if you care. And if you're a downtrodden, shitty team like Charlotte, wow, early in the show, I already cussed. Not a good sign. I got to work on that. Dude, if you're a crappy, downtrodden team like Charlotte, you throw your guys to the wolves. If you're a team like the Mavs, you pull flag out of the fight after 2 games. But if you play Kalkbrenner and Simpson, remember silly season hero from last year, you play Concanipple, you have a chance to win the Summer League title, and they did that. So we'll get to that, dude. But did you have a good weekend? Everything good?
Yeah, I had a great weekend, and congratulations, man. I mean, Charlotte never wins anything, ever. Like, they never even compete. So the fact that they won something is exciting. I think it's good news for Concanipple, and maybe it's a sign that Charlotte will one day actually compete with other NBA franchises.
I will buy what you're selling with that when/if LaMelo Ball's no longer on that team. So as long as they have him on their team playing 40 games, they will never do a damn thing. And think about it. Just a quick take. He's their best player. When your best player doesn't love the game, it maybe shows up late to practice. Maybe he kind of goes through the motions some days. Like, I don't really feel like playing today. I mean, I could see LaMelo Ball doing that. It ripple effects throughout your whole team. And everybody's like, fucking guy, I mean, he's a max player and he plays half the games. He's out here lollygagging. Like, it sets a bad tone. All right, if you're watching us live on Twitter, thank you very much. We love you all out there. Just a heads up, not every offseason episode will be available on this platform. Make sure you subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed to catch every episode and stay in the loop. Doc, I have the news that has dropped since our last episode, not in chronological order, but in it's sort of a merging of chronological order and impact and importance, right? We got to start with Damian Lillard. 3 years, $42 million. Boston was in on him. Golden State was in on him. Kind of wanted him to go there. I forget the other teams that were in on him. I think Phoenix might have been in on him. But 3 years, $42 million. On top of all of the annuity payments that he will get, the stretch payments he will get from Milwaukee. I mean, the guy's money is unbelievable. But let me give you the money, dude. He will have a $70 million salary next year between Milwaukee and Portland. He has a salary of $141 million over the next 2 years, according to Shams Charania, with the actual contract and then with this. Are you kidding me, bro? $70 million a year. Good for Dame. I love Dame. 3 years, $42 million, Doc, to go to Portland, not play. But when he emerges, okay, you're going to have Drew Holiday. You're going to have Scoot Henderson. Bro, Scoot is never, ever going to pop in Portland. It's never going to happen, bro.
Wow. I don't know about that because Dame's not playing this year, right? I
That's cool. Well, most likely. He hasn't been ruled out, but he probably will be.
You know what's wild is in the end, Milwaukee came away with nothing in that deal. You look at it, Dame's back in Portland, Drew's back in Portland, sort of. Like all the pieces that brought Damian Lillard to Milwaukee are gone, and Milwaukee has absolutely zero to show for it. And that's a problem. Like that's bad. Like the Paul George,
yes,
the double trade is bad. Like it's just bad. It's a bad look. But yeah, I don't. It's hard to really think about the fantasy impacts if Dame's not really going to play this year, and then who knows what happens the following year. But I mean, it is sort of a dark cloud hanging over the head of Scoot Henderson, right? Because you would think he would have been freed by now, and it hasn't happened. So I'm gonna I'm going to go ahead and treat this year like strike three. Like either Scoot Henderson pops this year, or you're right, it's never going to happen.
So I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, Drew Holiday is there. You still have Shaden Sharp. Like if there's a rash of injuries, if they somehow have a shutdown, a tanky shutdown, and so, okay, we're going to put Scoot up to bat, like that could happen. But I think Portland's going to be live. I think they're going to be playing tournament, eligible and all that kind of stuff. And if there's a shutdown, it's going to happen very late. That's not a pop. That's a silly season hero. Like a pop is sustained, like Denny Abdia last year. That was a pop, right? I just, and it sucks, dude. Go ahead, Doc.
Does Drew Holiday want to be there?
I don't know. I don't know that.
I feel like
I wouldn't imagine he's super psyched to be there.
And is Drew Holiday washed? I think he might be. I don't know. I'm not that worried about Drew Holiday. I think we've seen the decline. I don't think he wants to be in Portland. I could be wrong. Maybe I dreamt that. But I'm not.
I thought I saw something on Twitter about Drew Holiday not really feeling that move.
Me
I'll
too.
ask AI. Let me ask AI, dude. By the way, we have some breaking news we got to bring to the people. I love it. Does Drew Holiday want to be in Portland? But we do have breaking news. Actually, it just popped up. It populated itself. Chris Paul is a Los Angeles Clipper, guys. After Bradley Beal went there. Reports suggest Drew Holiday was initially pissed about being traded to the Blazers as he preferred to be on a championship contender. However, there are reports the Blazers intend to keep him and that he'll be a valuable veteran presence for the team. Sources indicate that while he may not be thrilled with the situation, he's a professional and will continue to contribute positively. So to answer your question, no, he's not happy to be there, and I'm buying that. But anyway, let's get on this Chris Paul thing. Chris Paul, Doc, wanted to stay in LA. And so he is. Didn't go to the Lakers, obviously. They've got Marcus Smart. Now we'll talk about that. And we'll get back to this Damian Lillard thing as well. But we got breaking news. So Chris Paul is a Clipper. And there were reports that this was probably going to happen after they got Bradley Beal. Another thing that we'll talk about here in a second. Look, because you have James Harden, the house of cards will crumble and tumble in Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7, and the Clippers will not win a damn thing again, okay? So all of that is the end goal. That's the end of the story. That's the last page of the book, okay? But, Doc, on paper, the Clippers have a low-key super team. On paper.
Yeah, and I mean,
this is a ridiculous roster, dude.
Are you going to bag on Jimmy Harden not being able to win and then just let Chris Paul slide like that, Rick? I don't know. They're right there, two peas in a pod.
Wait a minute. Dude, you are revising and updating history right now. This is not an apples to apples comparison. Yes, Chris Paul has had playoff failures. He has. He's gotten hurt. Mostly that's contributed to the playoff failures. He's also had untimely turnovers and some stuff. He's played a million years. Doc, James Harden, like I somewhere in my notes in a pile somewhere, I've got the statistical study I did on James Harden. I went through the Game 5s and Game 6 and Game 7s for his entire career, Doc. The shooting percentage was like 29%, dude. I mean, it was like, oh, and when you're doing you do research studies, I do, Andre, when you do a research study like that, you want a payoff, right? You don't want to get there, his shooting percentage is 45% in Game 5, Game 6, Game 7. That doesn't support my narrative, okay? But I was like, yes, the research supports the narrative, baby. And so he became the GOAT of playoff shrinkage at that point for me.
Okay. I'm cool with that. I've not done a deep dive on Harden's Game 5, 6, and 7s. I haven't done it with Chris Paul either. I just know neither one of them won. But back to your original point. Now, James Harden's backup becomes Chris Paul. And, well, I don't know. Chris Dunn and Chris Paul are going to battle that out. But now they got Brad Beal and Kawhi Leonard and John Collins and Ivica Zubac. I mean, and Brooke Lopez. Derek Jones Jr., like you're right. This is a low-key super team. They got Bogey Bogdanovich, who may not be done. He's due to have a bounce back season, I think. They've got Nick Batum, who still, even though he's older than dirt, continues to play well. But, man, if Brad Beal can keep it together and keep it on the court, and Kawhi Leonard has another healthy year and does what he did last year, this team is looking really, really good.
I'm excited, Doc, for the decision that Chris Paul has made, because remember early in the offseason, he wanted to be a starter, and he still wants to be a starter and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, on the NBA show, probably here, I was like, he's got to get over that, man.
Yeah.
No team in the league is going to be looking at you at 40 as a starter. Okay, go stay. It's just so obvious, dude. LA's already moved on. They got their point guard position full now. You want to stay in LA? The LA Clippers, literally on my depth chart, Doc, had no backup point. Well, actually, after the Beal move, I moved Dunn to the backup point guard, right?
Yeah.
But in advance of the Beal move, they didn't have a backup point guard. Bam, that's your spot, bro. And you know what, dude? Let me read the depth chart for the people out here and for the people in the back, Doc. Zubac, Collins, Leonard, Beal, Harden. On paper, right, that's a top 5 starting lineup on paper. Brooke Lopez, Derek Jones Jr., Nick Batum, Bogey Bogdanovich, Chris Paul. I would say that that's a hell of a second unit, Doc. Lopez is still starting quality. D. Jones Jr. is he's started a lot of games. He's okay in starting lineups. Batum and Bogey are bench players. Chris Paul is again one of those like kind of on the bubble of being a starter or a reserve. Kobe Brown, Jordan Miller, who can go, and Chris Dunn is a third unit player on this team. And you got my boy, Yannick Conan Niederhauser, who's never going to play, but I like him. He's an impressive late first-round rookie, in my opinion. So I'm not going to advocate anybody here on the Fantasy NBA today playing futures on the Clippers. They're going to win the West. They're going to win the gold ball. No, okay? I would, a matter of fact, scream to you and beg to you not to waste your money on those bets. They will not cash in for you, and you're just going to tie up your money for an extended period of time with no payoff at all. It's not a good way to go. Chris Paul in fantasy, Doc, is now like undraftable, waiver wire guy. It's done. It's kaput. He needs an injury now to open the door back to fantasy relevance. Do you agree, or do you see him having some fantasy relevance here with the Clippers? He was kind of fantasy relevant last year.
No, I don't think he's draftable now. But he plays on a team with James Harden, Bradley Beal, and Kawhi Leonard. So anything is possible. Those guys have all been hurt throughout their career. Bradley Beal is a walk. I mean, he's basically playing on one leg all the time. Kawhi Leonard, we know what he's got. And then Harden's had a couple instances where he's been out. So it's unlikely that Chris Paul is going to be worth picking up even off the waiver wire at some point this year, but it is possible. But I think to your point, what you were saying, and you have said that on this show as well as other shows, is he needs to let go of the rope, dude. And it's time to become a backup point guard and play 20 minutes a night and just help the second unit hold it together while your boys are over there on the bench. So that's where he is now. I mean, it doesn't get more clear cut than that. So I think his fantasy value is kaput.
You just brought up a thought for me with Chris Paul that I want to explore here historically. Because you piggyback my point about you got to give up the starter thing. Chris Paul has been a starter, every year of his career, last year included. Started 82 games as a 39-year-old. All right. So Chris Paul's career arc, Doc. The prime, the extension of the prime is it's gargantuan, dude. It's Stockton-esque. I'm on Basketball Reference right now and looking at his year log. It's like the Matrix. There's so many numbers on here, right? It's crazy. Right. Go to LeBron and just go to the career averages, right? Year after year after year. You're like,
you need dual monitors stacked on top of each other.
It's almost psychedelic. Okay, but Chris Paul, Doc, and so he's got it's Dirk Nowitzki, it's Kevin Garnett, it's Tim Duncan, it's Paul Pierce, it's Kobe, it's Reggie Miller. All these guys that played a million years, all-time great Hall of Famers. Badass, 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 badass. And right at the end, it went like that. Chris Paul has the same thing. Back in Phoenix in 22-23, he was, and this is his age 37 season, still 14 points, 9 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.7 threes, really good percentages. Then he had the Golden State year, right? Steve Kerr. I mean, Steve Kerr effing up the program for everybody, right? It's the first time in Paul's career that he ever came off the bench. He started 18 games, played 58 overall, and the numbers dipped. But Paul was ready to do more for that team than that. And then, of course, last year with San Antonio, it was 8.8 points, 7.4 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.7 threes. Still not that bad, bro, at 39 years old. And so I just want to shout out Chris Paul being one of the all-time greats. And he is one of those guys, Doc, that has just had that extended period of longevity that's super impressive. And at the very end, it dips. A la Karl Malone, a la Gary Payton, all these guys. And he belongs in that ilk of player, man.
Why do I have no recollection of Chris Paul playing for the Warriors? Why have I blocked that out of my memory?
Because Steve Kerr. It's like
a traumatic childhood incident, and it scarred me for life, and I just blacked it out. Like that was a year of my life I don't remember.
Me and Antonio Daniels on NBA Radio talked a ton about Chris Paul coming off the bench, and I mean, dang, like 15% of our programming over our 6 years on the air together was complaining about Steve Kerr somehow, some way. And you know, AD would take more of like the corporate company line, and I'd just be on there banging on Kerr, dude. But you know, he's a ball player, and they try to soften that up sometimes a little bit. Not me. I got the sledgehammer out. Okay, so Chris Paul is an LA Clipper. I think we've treated that pretty sufficiently here. Since we're on the Clippers here, and so I'm going to bounce around with our notes here. Brad Beal. Let's just stay on the Clippers. Let's stay on Brad Beal. Does this do anything for you, or are you still anesthetized? You know, are you still under right now? Are you still under anesthesia when it comes to Bradley Beal, even though now he's a Clipper, which last year was your squad, Doc?
Well, that's the thing. Like now, my squad looks like a super squad. They added John Collins, who I call him Johnny Collins, who I really like. And they've got Brook Lopez. They got Brolo. I really like him. I'm a DJJ, a Derek Jones Jr. guy. Like, I really like this team. And now they've plunked Bradley Beal, like my arch nemesis, into the middle of my beautiful squad. And so I'm like, okay, I have a decision to make here. Either I stop rolling with the Clippers, or I embrace Bradley Beal and go get a Clippers hat and maybe a Jimmy Harden jersey and just roll with them. I think I'm gonna give Bradley Beal a fresh slate. I'm gonna give him a clean start. I'm gonna give him a shot here to play in 75 games and try to help this team win a title, win the West. They're gonna win a lot of games either way. Even if Bradley Beal does play in a lot of games and he does get back to the form we saw him at like 3 years ago, there's still not a ton of room for him to be the man. I mean, James Harden and Kawhi Leonard are the guys. So now Beal is a third wheel. He's the third option in this offense. So even if it goes really, really well, it's not going to be a big fantasy like boom. He's not gonna pop in fantasy, but he could be, you know, a solid like 7th, 6th round pick for somebody. I'm probably not gonna draft him in fantasy, but I do feel like hopefully Harden and Leonard are gonna get with him and Chris Paul and be like, dude, we just need you to play. We just need you to score when we need you to score, and leave the heavy lifting up to James and Kawhi.
If he falls 2 rounds below ADP, will you draft Bradley Beal, or will you be in that moment of truth?
Yes, I could see that happening.
Okay. That is a take that I did not anticipate happening on our show today.
I didn't either.
I anticipated, nope, Beal's still dead to me. I'm keeping, okay. I love unpredictability. I love surprises, and we just got one. He's dead to me. I just traded him in the Cam Dynasty in an orchestrated deal to get Desmond Bain. So I'm good. I'm very happy to be out of the Bradley Beal business. Again, they have a super team on paper, okay? And we've seen paper super teams before that did not win the chip. And I feel like this is going to be one of those teams. Doc, tomorrow on the return of the Sports Ethos NBA show with Rick Kamla at 11 a.m. On Tuesday, I will be talking a lot about this. And I'm thinking right now, a little teaser, I'm thinking right now, Doc, that I'm going to have the Clippers number 3 in the West. Because I'm going to do 1 through 15 stacking East through West now that the offseason is basically over. Pardon me, the transaction season is basically over.
Are you going to go, can I guess your top 3?
Yeah.
Are you going to go, I haven't thought about this. This is strictly top of my head. OKC, Houston, Clippers? Or is Denver?
I gotta grab it. Yeah, Denver and Minnesota are up there. Here it is. OKC, Houston, Denver is what I have right now. Obviously, it's
you just said the Clippers were going to be number 3.
No. I'm saying, like, I haven't updated it yet. The Chris Paul move, just came down. So I'm probably, because, dude, last year, all right, we're talking just a teeny bit of reality here, folks. Denver, the Lakers, and the Clippers all had the same record at 50 and 32 last year. Minnesota was 1 game off that pace at 49 and 33. All right, so those 4 teams to me are in a pretty jumbled cluster. I think Houston is, for me, on paper, looking pretty clearly number 2 for me. But I feel like getting Beal, getting Paul has moved the Clippers for the regular season up above Denver, the Lakers, and Minnesota, if even by like that much. So I got to do more thinking on it. But I'm thinking right now that the Clippers are going to be 3rd in the West, dude. And again, I don't think anybody's dude, I saw my guy, Lawrence Frank, on Twitter. Dude, I probably talked to you about Lawrence Frank. Like, that's my homie, man. Like, we bonded and we were buddies when we worked together at NBA TV. And I would say he's one of the best cussers I've ever met. So I partially blame him for some of the cussing I do here. Also, I couldn't cuss for a million years on all these TV and radio shows, right? So now that if it slips out, it's not that big of a deal. It's actually kind of fun. But Lawrence Frank's a great guy. Dude, so I'm super happy for his success out there. We were back in like the makeup and dressing rooms and stuff, and he was at a crossroads. Remember, he coached for a long time, and he's like, what, do you think I'm good at this TV thing? I think you're awesome at this TV thing. And he's like, and he had this decision about getting back in it, right, with a team as a shot caller, coach, whatever, or staying in TV. And we talked about that, and I wasn't, like his wife about it, but we were just buddies talking about it, right? In the locker room, essentially. And I was like, Coach, TV will always be there for you. Always. Anytime you decide to tap out of the game, there's going to be a gig for you in TV. And so get back in the game. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, get back in the competitive fight. And he was like, and he said he appreciated that because of the compliment about him being good on TV. But anyway, Lawrence Frank has a tremendous personality. I love him to death. And these are 2 good gets, man. So Beal is dead to me, even 2 rounds after ADP, Doc. I'm letting other people take him because he's Mr. 40 games a year. I don't know if we have anything else to say on Portland with the Dame thing. I feel like we kind of talked that out enough. Yeah, I mean, Drew Holiday is off my radar, Doc. And maybe a trade happens. I feel like there's still a market out there for Drew Holiday. And if you're Drew Holiday, you want to get traded as soon as possible because you're just going to die on the vine in Portland. All right, Marcus Smart goes to the Lakers, Doc. So the Clippers get Chris Paul. The Lakers get Marcus Smart. And to just get us into this, who would you rather have on, backing up your starting point guard? Would you rather have Marcus Smart at his age, I don't know, 31 or 32 or whatever, or Paul at 40? Who got the better backup point guard?
I'd rather have Chris Paul. Like, Mark Smart, we haven't even seen him since he had green hair in Boston. Like I don't even remember what he looks like. He played a cup of coffee with Memphis, right? Like, where's Marcus Smart been since he left Boston? He's just been gone. And now he's going to be buried behind a couple point guards named Luka Doncic and LeBron James. That's no bueno. A shooting guard named Austin Reeves. Like, none of this is good for Marcus Smart. He's just going to be more. He's just a vet. They just added a veteran defensive style player. I don't. It does not do anything for me at all.
It does a lot for me in reality. I think it's a terrific get. Dude, you want to talk about a guy, Gabe Vincent, bro, has not made a basket in LA. I mean, this guy legit helped Miami go to the NBA Finals and lose to Denver. He was a big part of that, bro. He was like the Mario Chalmers of that team, making big shots and playing some defense, and good rotation guy for that team. Gets paid, goes to LA, and I mean, dude, has not made a shot in LA. He's now the third string point guard, which I like. Gabe Vincent's your third string point guard. And I don't see any fantasy value here at all for Marcus Smart. I like the move in reality. Marcus Smart has drifted to a bench player, a non-draftable waiver wire guy in fantasy basketball, and it's sad. It's kind of tragic because once upon a time, Marcus Smart was a killer fantasy player, close to 2 steals per game, 2+ threes per game, pretty good PRA, low efficiency. I don't care. But shout out to Marcus Smart. It's a good get by Rob Pelinka. I want to have a quick depth chart conversation for the Lakers with you. Just quick, Doc. There was a report that the Lakers are going to get Bronny James in the rotation this year. Okay, I still wonder how that's possible. We just talked about your point guards. You got 3 of them, okay, and they're all better than Bronny. Your 2 guard position, Bronny's a 2. Okay, he's a 2 in a 1's body. That's who he is. Is Bronny James going to be in the rotation over Dalton Connect? This decision confronts JJ Redick because at the 3 you have Vanderbilt, at the 4 you have LaRavia, at the 5 you have Jackson Hayes and Kleba. Okay, all of those guys are going to play in their spots. At the 2 you have a Connect Bronny decision. You cannot play both of them. Both of them will not be in the rotation. This is interesting, Doc. This is interesting. I have a feeling JJ Redick is going to play Bronny and bench Connect, who he does not like.
How does he feel about Bronny? Do we know? I don't know.
Look, well, hold on, time out. LeBron got him the job, right?
No, that's
they
true.
did a podcast together. Now he's LeBron's coach.
Yeah,
I think there's a little connection there.
Connect.
Call me dumb.
There's a little connection there.
Oh, good. Well played.
Yeah, Dalton, when I was looking at this, I'm like, Dalton Connect is screwed. Because even if Dalton Connect is better than Bronny James, what do you see when you look at Summer League headlines? Bronny James.
Oh my
what do you
God,
see when you watch ESPN? Bronny James. He's the most talked about worst player of all time. Like, he's just the fact he makes headlines is incredible to me because his name is Bronny James. So I think Dalton Connect is screwed. And as we saw last year, like you said, JJ Redick doesn't like Dalton Connect. I don't know why Dalton Connect was upset about being traded to Charlotte, Summer League champion Charlotte Hornets. He could have been a part of that celebration last night. And he would actually be a good addition to that team. So I would like I'm going to go ahead and request that the Lakers trade my guy Dalton Connect because I don't want to see him just waste away in LA.
I'm telling you, man. JJ Redick also is very you would think he'd be obsessed with shooting, right? He's more obsessed with defense than he is with shooting. And theoretically, Bronny brings more of that than Dalton Connect. Andre, I have a question. Because is Dalton Connect still on your team in Cam Dynasty? I think he is. Andre obviously and very documentedly took over Doc's team and has already traded for Wemby. He said, I need to make some drops. So Dalton Connect, think about this. We were so high. And so, dude, midway through last year, he was like a dynasty stash, a dynasty hold. Like, you know, he's having these 30-point games. And now Andre, who is just like famously smart about basketball, is ready to cut Dalton Connect. That's crazy. That's JJ Redick. All right, what else do we want to talk about here? Doc, I have a couple more angles here. These are quickies. You asked me last week, what's up with LeBron James? Remember that? You asked me that last week. And I saw a report, and I said, you know, he's not leaving LA. He's going to, but I was speculating, right? We've gotten a report. Joe Varden and Dan Wokey, two of the best in the business, report that LeBron James has not had any buyout or trade discussions with the Lakers. The expectation is that LeBron will be with the Lakers for training camp. Obviously, Doc, things can change. But like I said, this is an FU season for LeBron James. Telling you, FU to the Buss family, FU to the Walter family, FU to Pelinka, FU to the Rambuses, anybody in charge who has left me behind and not felt like you had to consult with me for everything like you've always done, but now you're not anymore, okay? Bleep you. And so I think it's going to be a spike season, dude. LeBron is professional enough to know I don't have to be happy with people. I can just go play for me, right? And play for Redick and play for my teammates. I don't have to play for them up in the front office in the ivory tower. I don't have to play for any of them. I mean, we can. You want to disassociate? You want to not consult with ownership changes and big moves? Cool. I'm just going to play ball. So I think LeBron's going to have a kick-ass year, dude. I think he's going to have a kick-ass year. And the Lakers are a very good team, Doc. They're going to be at least top 6. They probably are. I shouldn't say probably. They're right on the top 4 bubble, but it's going to be a good year for LA. They're going to win around 50 games again.
The West is crazy. They're crazy good. And you know, there was all that stuff about Tyrese Halliburton being overrated last year, right? And the Pacers used that as motivation. Jokic doesn't win MVP. Jokic, the Nuggets disrespect. Jokic and the Nuggets are the most disrespected team in the NBA right now. And maybe it's because they fired their coach in the
Incorrect. Jason Tatum's the most disrespected player in this league.
Oh, I disagree with that.
Dude, all you do is bang on Jason Tatum. Dude, do you remember the old stand-up comedian Gallagher? And he'd put the watermelon on the tree stump, and he would have this enormous sledgehammer, and he would boom on the watermelon. And the watermelon flew everywhere, right? That's what you do to Jason Tatum. Hey, do you not remember Gallagher? Destroying
Did you know Gallagher's twin brother, or his brother, I don't know if they're twins, impersonated Gallagher, went on the road as Gallagher, and was making Gallagher money, even though he's not Gallagher?
Are you? Of course, I did not know that.
You can go read, Google that one, dude.
There's no way you know that, dude. There's no way.
I'm waiting for the 30-30 to come out on the Gallagher brothers.
Oh my God, is that funny? So,
I just feel like the community in general. Yeah, I'm pretty hard on Jason Tatum. In fact, I saw a quote about him the other day. Somebody's like, except for Jason Tatum, he's too goofy, or it was something like that. And I was like,
corny, yeah. Right? Corny.
But corny. I think,
dude, you gave me that word for him. That's what everybody liked. Doc sends me this video of this guy coming up with all the corny moments of Jason Tatum's career. I just howled. I died laughing, dude.
But Jokic is pretty disrespected, and Denver is pretty disrespected for just winning a championship to be forgotten about this quickly. And now you're not even going to have them in the top 3 in the West. And then there's the Lakers, and there's Minnesota, and they're like the West is stacked, dude. Then the East, you got teams like Miami and Orlando looking pretty good over there. Hell, Charlotte might even be in the conversation now.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Doc. Don't get out over your skis, bro. You'll topple and fall.
I am in a. I have one more point about Dalton Connect, and then we can talk Jonas Valanciunas real quick. if Dalton Knecht gets traded and we free Dalton Knecht, he will be someone that we should have held in dynasty leagues. Well, maybe you don't need to hold him because I don't think there's going to be any market for him for the next year. But if he ever gets out of LA, we have not heard the last of Dalton Knecht. I'm just saying that.
We have not, but we know his stat set, Doc. We already know his stat set. You know, like Devin Booker comes out at 2, right? But then they put him on the ball in some moments where their point guard's hurt or whatever. And Devin Booker goes out there and puts up 28 with 7-8 assists, right? Whoa, I didn't know you had that. Okay, cool. You got that point guard thing down. That's not happening with Dalton Knecht. Dalton Knecht is not going to play up to a forward spot and start averaging 7-8 rebounds a game. We know his stat set, dude. He's going to be a horrible PRA guy. He's going to be Tim Hardaway Jr. reincarnated. That's the best that we could get from Dalton Knecht. So we're talking between 11 and 17 points, between 2 and 3 threes. So I'm out. Like I don't rock with those guys. Those are end of roster guys for me. Those are streamers for me. I'm not like, especially in Dynasty, like I would and this is probably an obvious comment, like I'd way rather have a Bub Carrington than a Dalton Knecht because I know Bub's stat set is fantastic. Great PRA guy, medium steal guy, potential to be a pretty good 3 guy. So Dalton Knecht to me is just a no. All right. Just like Grady Dick. Sorry, Doc. I don't want to get you laughing and giggling. Grady Dick's the same way. Talented player, good scorer. Doc, Con Knippel of Charlotte. Okay. Your new favorite player. Same thing. We know his stat set. He's not going to become a Austin Reeves 18-5-5 guy. Okay. That ain't happening with Con Knippel. All right. Jonas Valanciunas, Andre Lamouche is telling us, is confirming he wants to stick in Denver. So that's, and he said, I'm fully committed to honoring my contract with the Nuggets this season and will give it my all to compete for a championship. Good for Jonas. Look, he's a great backup point guard, Doc. He'll probably start 5 games this year. All right. Like Jokic never misses games, right? But he doesn't play 82. So Jonas may be a good streamer for us for 5 or 10 games next year. That's how I'm looking at Jonas. And in reality, obviously having Jonas backing up Jokic is fantastic.
Yeah. In reality, it's great. It makes Denver a little bit better. And they're still disrespected. So, you don't want any JV on your fantasy team this year. I'll tell you that.
And no, you don't need to handcuff him to Jonas Valanciunas. I say that because, like, I'm not supposed to say that, so sometimes it feels kind of good. It's the handcuff. It's an old school phrase. We created
we're an indie site. We can do whatever we want. That's why you can get away with dropping F-bombs whenever you want. Now, Andre may not like it, but we don't have a big corporation trying to beat us down.
Dude, don't gas me up with the cuss words. Just I got it. Like I said, I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress with that. I didn't swear on the air for 25 years, and I've gotten a little bit too loose with it. I got to reel that in, man. Andre. I know. I love you, man. I got you. I'm trying. Oh, we got one more piece of news here. Doc Derek Queen of the Pelicans, the rookie, underwent left wrist surgery on Friday, and he's going to be out at least 12 weeks. It's a torn scapholinate ligament left wrist. So starting the season on time now is a question. Doc, this injury right here tips me. And look, I'm not really crazy about either of these guys in fantasy, but I have had a question, and it does matter. Who starts at center for the Pelicans? Yves Missi or Derek Queen? I think this kind of settles that. And that doesn't mean that Missi will start over him all year, but I think that this means that Missi's going to begin the season as the starting seed for the Pelicans. Do you agree?
Yeah. And when I saw that Derek Queen news on my phone the other day, I was like, because we just got done talking about him. And we kind of did a deep dive on Derek Queen. I love the fact he sounds like you're saying Dairy Queen when you say his name. And I was like, I was feeling Dairy Queen, and I was getting all excited about it. And he was going to be one of my late sleeper centers that I was going to draft everywhere. And now I saw that news. I was like, scratch that plan. And he might be fine. He might be ready to go, but surgery is no joke. I don't care what kind of surgery it is. They're cutting you open and getting in there. It takes time to heal, and nothing ever feels the same again for the most part. And it just sucks.
I mean, the typical dumb luck of the Pelicans, right? They're just the most unlucky team, dude. I hope it works out for Queen. So Queen to me is going to be a keep your eye on him as the season goes along, and there may be a starting lineup switch or something like that. I like him, but the problem with this injury is you can't work out on your game. You can't work out on getting better. It's his left wrist, which is his non-shooting wrist. So I guess he can stand at the free throw line and still hinge it up there. But you just had surgery on your left wrist. You haven't even played an NBA game yet. It's not good. Derek, we wish you well, man. All right. Cam and Doc's Summer League standouts. The Summer League ended yesterday. The Charlotte freaking Hornets are the champions of the Summer League. Shout out to KJ Simpson. He had 11, 7, and 5 in the championship game. He is the third string point guard for the Charlotte Hornets right now. Let me go to Charlotte's depth chart real quick.
Rick.
Actually, fourth string. Remember they signed Dinwiddie. Why did Charlotte sign Dinwiddie, bro? Why? You got Sexton, you got Trey Mann, you go get some Dinwiddie. Why did you go get Dinwiddie?
I don't know. Hey, Rick, do you have anything to tell people that might be watching on Twitter right now?
I do. If you're watching us live on Twitter right now, thank you very much. Not every episode that we have in the offseason will be on this platform. So make sure you subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed, Apple, Spotify, or YouTube channel. Just Fantasy NBA Today. You'll see it. You'll see the very handsome Aaron Brewski. You'll see Rick Kamla and Dr. A. And you'll click on that, and then you will subscribe to it. And we really appreciate that, especially our boy Brew, who will be back in the rotation in a couple of weeks here, Doc. So for Charlotte, we actually, there's a couple of things here. Ryan Kalkbrenner, Doc, keeps looking more and more like a preseason fantasy basketball draft darling of sorts. Last pick of your draft, throw a dart on Ryan Kalkbrenner. Why not? One of the most wide open positions in the entire NBA is the center spot for the Charlotte Hornets. You have Mason Plumlee, who I think Tim Woodson told me that he thinks he's going to start. It was either Woodson or William Harris. I can't remember. Maybe Andre remembers that. And I think he's going to be the OG, like the Udonis Haslem, like you never play. You're old. You're not in the way, which Doc is going to like. You're old, but not in the way. Moussa Diabate is the backup 5. Kalkbrenner's the starting 5. Because he had in the championship game 15 and 9, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 3. Ooh, I like that. And Con Knipple was really good in the championship game. 21-5, 2, 4 3-pointers. Again, like that's about what you're going to get. We know his stat set. So talk to me about Kalkbrenner, dude. Is he Derek Queenie on your radar as a late round guy?
Yeah, I think he's the new Derek Queen on my radar, actually, because this Charlotte center depth chart looks a lot like New Orleans and Memphis did last year. Because we looked at their center depth charts last year. It's like Yves Missi is literally the only option New Orleans has to start it.
Remember they had Daniel Tice
again this year.
Remember the Pels had Daniel Tice heading into last year too, dude.
Yeah, and then Memphis didn't have any centers, and it was like Steven Adams is clearly, or not Steven Adams. What am I doing? Good grief. Your boy, why am I blanking out on his name? Who's your Memphis center? Your guy.
Santi Aldama?
Oh, Memphis.
Oh, Zach Edey. Zach Edey. My bad.
Why did I call him Steven Adams? Zach Edey was clearly going to start for Memphis last year. And this sort of looks that way to me too, because maybe it's Mason Plumlee, who is an underrated passer and a good assist guy for a center. Like if Mason Plumlee starts at center for Charlotte, I'm going to draft him late. Like I have no problem with that, but this team is probably going nowhere. Kalkbrenner's off to a really good start in summer league. I'm guessing the coach and the teammates like him. Like, he could have a good year. I wouldn't mind having Plumlee and Kalkbrenner on my team at the end of a deep draft and just kind of seeing what happens and then cutting one of them.
Yeah, I look at Plumlee and Diabate. Diabate bummed me out last year with the lack of shot blocking. You're an energy guy. You're an activity guy. You're not blocking shots. Like, what is that, dude? Look at his game log, dude. You see some good rebounding games, some double doubles. Ooh, Diabate popped last night. Look at the block. 1 block, no steals. No blocks, no steals. That really let me down. And he's young, and I can't say that he's absolutely clearly defined as a player. He's young. He's still developing. But shot blocking is kind of either there or it's not. You don't really see guys, all right, I'm just going to fire up the engine now and start blocking shots. It usually doesn't work that way. It's like a skill set that you have. It's how you've gotten to this level of basketball. DeAndre Ayton, he used to block some shots on his way up. And then he got man, I ain't blocking shots anymore. I'm not risking fouls and ankle turns and nah. And By the way, I'm just happy being on the ground. I'm chill down here on the ground. So yeah, go ahead.
What are the chances you have Dalton or you? What was wrong with me? What are the chances you have DeAndre Ayton on a single fantasy team this season? 0%.
It's kind of like a weird kind of non-circular zero. Here's why, Doc, and it's a great question. Dude, there's 1 million centers. There's 1 million of them. That is one position where you don't need a center. And dude, you remember back in the old days, a lot of times you needed to get a center in the first round. Okay, go get you some Dikembe. Go get you some Zoe. Go get you some Shaq, right? And Doc and I have been playing fantasy that long. Back in the day, like, that's where the stats were. Now the wings are where the stats are. So, and there's so many centers, bro. And you've got like Pascal Siakam, Doc, is going to be a PFC, right? You got all these crossover guys too that add to the depth at center. So Ayton will not be on any of my teams, and that's why. If there was position scarcity at center, I would mess around with Ayton late, right? I wouldn't want him. He'd be the guy like, I just end up with him. He'd be that guy. But at this rate, he will not even be that guy. How about you?
This is how dedicated our producer Andre is. He is in a rookie draft right now. He's hoping Kalkbrenner falls to him, and he's like, guys, please change the subject. You're killing me here. You're gonna make somebody draft him.
I love that. We're so in
Monday morning at 11:30. I'm just sitting around doing a rookie draft while I produce a show about fantasy basketball. Like that's he's all in, man.
It's a good life, dude. It's a good life. I'm just happy that Andre's working on another league as opposed to masterminding in the Cam Dynasty. Yes, spend some time on another league. Stop thinking about the Cam Dynasty. Am I afraid? No. Do I see him? Yes. All right, dude. To me, Cal, I love having Andre and Brew in this league, Doc. And sorry to see you go, man. But it's a Fantrax thing, and it's just a thing with Doc. He hates Fantrax, man. What do you hate more, Fantrax or Jason Tatum?
Fantrax.
That is an answer that I did anticipate. Dude, to me, Kyle Filipowski was the best player at the Vegas Summer League. The best. Led the league in scoring at 29.3 per game, dude. Big game. He had 3 huge games, dude, with rebounds and 3 balls and all kinds of stuff, man. And I have my eye on Filipowski. I will tell you something right now, Doc. We get rotational questions answered in the preseason, and I cannot wait for Utah Jazz preseason games. I may be the only person on earth outside of Salt Lake City who says that sentence, but I am psyched for preseason games for Utah. I want to know if Sensabaugh is going to start. Is Cody Williams going to start? Is Collier and Walter Clayton Jr. and Ace Bailey going to start? Is Filipowski going to start? They have a bunch of directions they can go, Doc. But, dude, Filipowski, he's nasty, dude. That is a talented mofo.
All you have to say is Filipowski is too good for Summer League, because he is. He played 3 games. He averaged 29 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, shot 56%, almost 40% from downtown.
Damn.
He had 12 of 17 shots and scored 32 against the Hornets. Was that last night? Was that the final? Were they?
No. That
game?
was that was a few days ago.
Okay. Well, he busted Charlotte with 32 points on 12 of 17.
The champs. He busted the champs.
I don't get that excited about Summer League stats. I just don't care that much. But in a case like this, where you see a guy that's literally too good for the league, and he's playing for a bad team in Utah, he showed a lot of promise and pop last year. I love Filipowski last year. Like the promise and the hope, what's coming this year and next year, it's exciting, man. I love Filipowski.
Filipowski is going to be a gem in 30 deep. He's going to be a gem in 30 deep. So is this guy, Terrence Shannon Jr., Doc, another too good for the Summer League guy. So he averaged 23, 6, and 5. We kind of saw, like, Terrence Shannon Jr. is not going to be put up to bat with this team. He's going to be in the NAW bench role, right? But, Doc, his stat set is goodyish. 3 balls, steals, PRA. I love Terrence Shannon Jr., dude. I love him. Dillingham played very well for Minnesota in the Summer League. I'm stoked, dude. I'm stoked about my Wolves, bro. I really am. They're in this to win it.
Was Shannon the player that should have been like a top 10 pick? But
yes, and he had an off the court thing. Yeah, he had an off the court thing.
And he fell, which
I believe he was acquitted or charges dropped or something like that. I'm pretty sure there was a flare up and it was nasty, and I'm pretty sure like it just all kind of went away. So we always say alleged with that type of stuff. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened or what didn't happen, but yes, that's why he fell.
Okay. I mean, that tells you something to do. He was supposed to go in the lottery. He was supposed to go top 5 probably. And the loss of Nickeil Alexander-Walker does open up a spot for Shannon in Minnesota. So very intriguing, man. I don't know. He's probably nothing more than maybe a last pick flyer in your standard draft. And then you're just hoping the good times continue. But he's very intriguing to me.
If you're in a 12-team league, I don't think you're going to need to take Terrence Shannon Jr. Think last year in a 12-team league. Were you messing around with Nickeil Alexander-Walker? Maybe streaming one night. A guy's hurt for one game. You play him, something like that. But Terrence Shannon's going to need an injury or two to have fantasy relevance, and I certainly hope that does not happen in terms of the injury thing. Doc, another guy that really impressed me, Nick Clifford of Sacramento. I love that he's old. He's 23, 5 years in college. He averaged 18, 6, and 5 in Vegas, okay, with goodies. He's a PRA guy, and he's a fantasy gold guy. Now, he's going to play a bench role in Sacramento. We know they have this stacked, loaded offense starting 5. But Sac got one in Nick Clifford, dude. I like Nick Clifford, and I don't see him popping or even maybe being fantasy relevant this year, but I got my eye on him because, dude, we talked about this with Jared McCain. In the Summer League, you spot stuff, and you just stash it away. And then it's all about talent meets opportunity. The opportunity is not going to be there for Nick Clifford this year. But when it is, this guy's stat set was nice in Vegas a couple of years ago. I'm going to pick him up and see what he can do here. Bam, Doc and Cam and Brew were talking about him on our shows during the regular season when we talk about must-add pickups. You got to get you some Nick Clifford, son.
Yeah, and stash it away. Remember it, no value this year. I totally agree with everything you said.
All right, and then lastly, Doc, the last guy I want to talk about here is Yang Hansen. A draft pick, mid-round, 16th, I think it was, to Portland. Everybody's like, what? Yang Hansen, I've got him 45th or 37th or 29th. Like, nobody had him that high. Portland goes ahead and takes him, 7'1". He's had references on Twitter to being the Chinese Jokic, which I think are awesome and hilarious. but he blocked shots. He made threes. And what was his stat line here? Where can't I see this?
Who'd you say? Who he played for?
Portland. So the question with Yang Hansen. So at one point here, he was averaging 12, 4, and 3 with 2 blocks per game in the summer league. 12, 4, and 3 with 2 blocks per game. So he's got a good stat set. He's got a PRA. He's a good passer. He's a really good passer. And he makes threes. And he blocks shots. I like Yang Hansen. I am with it. The question is, Doc, who's the backup 5 behind Donovan Clingan? Is it Duop Reith, or is it Yang Hansen?
Or is it Robert Williams? Does he still play basketball?
I forgot about the Time Lord.
Dude, the Time Lord and Savior just never really panned out, did it? I had Adam Schefter on my podcast back in the day. Matt Straub and I had Adam Schefter on. Shefty was like, guys, I love the Time Lord. I'm all about the Time Lord. And we're like, we are too, Shefty. Time Lord, baby. And it just never really panned out. What a bust. But, I mean, Donovan Clingan is clearly the future. He's the prize. So I think whoever is the backup is just going to get Donovan Clingan scraps. And you have to admit, Robert Williams, Yang Hansen, and Duop Reith all have a chance to be in the rotation. So it's very crowded and cloudy there. Just stash Yang's name away for future reference.
Yang Hansen can ball. He proved everybody wrong. Everybody that was banging on Portland. I'm right here in the summer league. He already showed us the stat set, the like imagination, right? That Joe Cronin had making that pick. Joe Cronin, by the way, Clingan, Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, not his fault. He just never plays. He's done a pretty good job drafting here, man. Trades for Tumani Kamara, trades for Denny Abdia. I mean, I'm liking it. Okay, I see you, bro. I see you. The Drew Holiday trade has all of us like, huh? But who cares? It's all good. All right. Please leave a comment or review on the show, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening on the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed. We really appreciate that. We want you to check out our fantasy football draft guide. It is the best in the biz. Nobody is doing what we are doing. We have full NFL coverage, and I am doing the college football fantasy coverage. We have both layers covered at the highest level possible. We're going to help you win money. And the fantasy football draft guide, guys, $6 a month. You can get up to 60% off right now at sportsethos.com. For Andre Lemouche, for Dr. A, I am Rick Kamla. We love you. We appreciate you. We will be back Tuesday with another episode of the Fantasy NBA Today. Until then, peace.